Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to act here on behalf of the Charles University as a guide through this ceremony that has been organized at the opportunity of gold medal awards that will go to the Minister of Antiquities of Egypt, Professor Mamdouh Eldamaty, and Dr. Zahi Hawass, the man who achieved many archaeological discoveries and basically reorganized Egyptian antiquities organization in the past 2 decades. I would like to welcome all of you here. Our special regards are directed to the Egyptian representatives, Minister of Antiquities Mamdouh Eldamaty, Dr. Zahi Hawass, Her Excellency, Ambassador of Egypt to Czech Republic, to Czech Minister of Culture, Mr. Daniel Herman, and last but not least, I would like to welcome Vice Rector of the Charles University in Prague and my very dear friend, Professor Martin Kováč. First of all, let me invite Czech Minister of Culture, Mr. Herman, to say a couple of words to open the ceremony.
Thank you.
Your Excellency.
Your Excellencies, Vice Rector, Dean, distinguished guests. I am honored to open today's ceremonial afternoon with a few words and welcome on behalf of the Ministry of Culture our Egyptian guests at the Charles University. In a few minutes, the representatives of the Czech Egyptology Institute and Charles University shall award the Minister of Antiquities of Egypt, Professor Mamdouh Eldamaty, as well as the former Minister of Antiquities of Egypt, Dr. Zahi Hawass, for their long-lasting support of activities of the Czech Institute of Egyptology in Egypt. The cooperation in the field of archaeology between our 2 countries is one of the significant meaning. In 2018, the Czech Institute of Egyptology will celebrate the 60th anniversary of its existence. It means that it has been decades since Czech and Egyptian archaeologists have been working together to reveal the greatness of the ancient Egypt in the area of Abu Sir. I'm impressed by recent discoveries, and I am looking forward to see some of them on display in Prague in 2018. Dear guests, it's a privilege to offer my congratulations to His Excellency Professor Mamdouh Eldamaty and to Dr. Zahi Hawass on receiving their gold medals today. And also let me wish the Czech Institute of Egyptology the most outstanding discovery to come in the near future. Thank you for your attention and enjoy the afternoon.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. And now let me ask the Dean of the Faculty of Arts in Prague, Professor Miriam Fried, to give a talk.
Thank you. Magnificencies, Excellencies, colleagues, friends, I feel truly privileged being part of this ceremony because I have been watching and observing the cooperation, and I truly appreciate that it's been working the way it has been working, and I have great hopes for this to continue in the same way. As you can see, we are really proud of our old university, but compared to Egypt, we are still new kids on the block. But it means we do appreciate antiquities and the ancient treasures, and so it's extremely important for us that we have this relationship, and I am just hoping that the cooperation will continue, and maybe it will be really showcased at the exhibition that we are all working on very diligently. So let me just welcome you on behalf of the Faculty of Arts, and thank you for everything you've been doing for us, and hoping for more. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now I have to ask Vice Rector of the University, Professor Martin Kováč, to introduce the gold medal ceremony.
Yeah. Excellencies, dear guests, ladies and gentlemen, Charles University, one of the oldest universities in Europe, true to its historical traditions, expresses its recognition and honor for those who have made exceptional contributions to education and the common good. Charles University Golden Commemorative Medal, which bears the stamp of the original historical seal of the university, is awarded as an expression of our recognition and honor. I'm thrilled to have the privilege today to award this medal to Professor Mamdouh Eldamaty, a prominent Egyptian scholar and the current Minister of Antiquities. Allow me, Professor Eldamaty, at this ceremonial moment, to present you with the Charles University Golden Commemorative Medal as an expression of friendship and deep respect for all that you have done for the international science and the Czech-Egyptian scientific collaboration. Please accept this golden medal as the mark of our respect and appreciation of your relentless work.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Congratulations. And thank you for your support and cooperation. Great. Thank you.
Professor Eldamaty graduated from the Cairo University in Egypt, the Universität Trier in Germany, and he is an international prominent specialist in Egyptian history and art of the late through the Roman periods. He took part in numerous research projects both in Egypt and internationally. He authored several scholarly works, and he was also the director of the Egyptian Museum in Cairo and editor of the proceedings published by the same museum. Similarly important are also his teaching activities, especially at the Ain Shams University in Cairo, where he held the position of a dean. He was a visiting professor at universities abroad and read papers at many international conferences. In his capacity of the Cultural Counselor of the Egyptian Embassy in Germany, Professor Eldamaty was also active in diplomacy. Professor Eldamaty is a member of several research institutions and societies both in Egypt and abroad. He has also received high domestic and international awards. Professor Eldamaty has always been a supporter of the activities of the Czech Institute of Egyptology and a promoter of the Czech-Egyptian collaboration in archaeology. This summary should give enough details to clarify why we, academic community in Prague, at Charles University and our institute, are proud to have him the gold medal of the Charles University in Prague. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let us move to the second gold medal awarded by the Charles University in Prague.
It's a great honor for me to award the Golden Commemorative Medal of Charles University to Dr. Zahi Hawass, one of the most influential Egyptologists and archaeologists of our times. Dear Dr. Hawass, let me express my sincere thanks to you for all good things that you have done for the international science and the Czech-Egyptian scientific collaboration. Please accept the Charles University Golden Commemorative Medal as the mark of our respect and appreciation of your relentless work.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you for your help and cooperation. Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me now ask the doyen of Czech Egyptology and actually international Egyptology as a whole, Professor Miroslav Werner, former director of the Institute, to read Laudatio of Dr. Zahi Hawass.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear guests, I know that Professor Dr. Zahi Hawass doesn't like people who are unable to speak ex cathedra and say what they wish to say without a written paper. But I hope that he will excuse me reading my laudatio for him. Professor Hawass is an outstanding archaeologist and Egyptologist of our time. He has become a sort of an icon of Egyptian archaeology and of ancient Egypt. We all know that. But allow me to assess briefly his achievements and the outstanding services to the exploration and protection of ancient Egyptian antiquities and monuments, which he achieved. The monuments which are an important part of the cultural and historical heritage of the mankind. And he did that principally through his personal field research. Dr. Hawass led many archaeological campaigns all around Egypt, first and foremost in the pyramid field of Giza, the Valley of Kings in Luxor, and the Western Oasis, and in many more other places. At those places, he made important discoveries, among which rank, for example, the pyramid builders' necropolis in Giza, on the publication of which he is working just in this time. And also, I should not fail to mention his famous discovery of the Valley of Golden Mummies in the Oasis Bahreya. And I should continue because the list of his major discoveries, which literally changed our view of Egyptian history, is really long. All Dr. Hawass's discoveries have substantially added to our better understanding of the history of ancient Egypt. It is primarily his archaeological explorations and discoveries that provided the basis for his numerous scholarly papers and several dozen of scientific monographs that were published in prestigious publishing houses around the globe. Professor Hawass was, or still is, the primary researcher in many scholarly and educational projects, both in Egypt and abroad. He initiated the restoration of a large number of Egyptian monuments and fostered the renovation of old museum buildings in Egypt or the construction of new ones. Through his numerous lectures for domestic and international audience, as well as through TV documentaries and other public appearances all over the world, Professor Hawass contributed substantially to the popularization of the Egyptian antiquities and the cultural heritage of ancient Egypt. No less important are also his teaching activities. Professor Hawass lectured at universities in Egypt and as the visiting professor also at many universities abroad, especially in the United States, where he is particularly active due to his graduating from the University of Pennsylvania. Professor Hawass has received many domestic and international awards and is an honorary member of many research institutions and societies, both in Egypt and abroad. It was primarily due to his excellent scholarship and organizational skills that Professor Hawass managed to elevate the former Supreme Council of Antiquities, a division of the Ministry of Culture, to the level of independent Ministry of Antiquities, of which he was elected the first minister in 2011. Professor Hawass has always been a supporter of the work of the Czech Institute of Egyptology and the promoter of the Czech-Egyptian cooperation in archaeology. For instance, it was primarily thanks to his support that we were able, together with the Czech television, to prepare dozens of TV documentaries that had a strong impact on the popularity of Egyptian antiquities among the Czech general public. To Professor Zahi Hawass, not only I personally, in my former work in Egypt, but also our institute and the Czech Republic in the field of Egyptology owes much too. Thank you very much, Professor Hawass.
Thank you very much. It is beyond any doubt, in my view, that today we are meeting two outstanding representatives of Egyptian science that represented and fought for the Egyptian state over the last 30 or 40 years. Dr. Zahi Hawass and Professor Mamdouh Eldamaty have always been outstanding keepers and defenders of Egyptian and world heritage, both on Egyptian territory and abroad. So let me repeat again that we are really proud to have them today with us, to have the decision of the Charles University in Prague to award them the golden medals. And in the closing part of this ceremony, I would like to invite both of them to give us their views on the current status of their work and of their ideas relating the Egyptian heritage and antiquities in the future. Professor Mamdouh Eldamaty, please, would you mind to comment briefly?
First of all, thank you very much, Charles University. I am deeply touched from this medallion. It is a great honor to me to have this honoring from one of the most important and oldest university in Europe. Thank you very much. The successful cooperation between Egyptian antiquities and the Charles University Czech Institute of Egyptology is a long time ago, more than 50 years. And since it started, the Czech mission in Abu Sir especially did good work and important and successful result from the excavation and research, not only in this field of excavation, but also as a scholar, they teach for some of our new generation, Muhammad Megahid, Muhammad Ismail, Tariq Al-Awadi. They are scholars from the Czech school in Egypt. In the future, I think we have to make it deeply and intensively to work to save the human heritage. It is not only the Egyptian heritage, it is human heritage. And as you know, the work in Abu Sir at the part of the Memphis necropolis, it is in the heart of the Egyptian civilization, in the heart of the Egyptian heritage. The Egyptian heritage suffered in the last 40 years from the new situation in Egypt. But with the cooperation, international cooperation, with all friends in all fields of Egyptology and archaeology in general, we can pass this period to continue our work. We try to save the Egyptian heritage by working in several sites, excavation, preparing these sites for the visitors to put on the touristic plan. Also, would like to make more restoration and conservation in several places. in Abu Sir, one of them, in Qom al-Hitan, the temple of Amenhotep III in Luxor, in Aswan, in Marina, Komedika, and in several places in Egypt. In addition, we have also planned to build some museums to exhibit all the collection which we have in Egyptian magazine. I think the most important cultural mission and cultural project now is the Grand Egyptian Museum, which we built beside the Pyramid of Giza. Somebody talked about this project. What happened with the Nile Museum in Tahrir Place when we have the Grand Egyptian Museum? I tell you, we have to save the Egyptian Museum in Tahrir. Actually, when the Egyptian Museum in Tahrir Place built 1902, it had about 32 pieces in the exhibition. Most of them from the most important sculpture pieces from Egypt through the ages. The King Tutankhamun come late. The collection of Tanis come late. And with the time, the museum suffered from the collection. We have more than 120,000 pieces now. Starting in 18th to build local museums in Tanta, in Luxor, in several places to earn some collection from magazine. But we still have a lot of collection in the Cairo Museum. Now we built another 2 museums. One of them is the Grand Egyptian Museum. The second is the NEMEC, National Museum of Egyptian Civilization in Fustat. And each of the 3 museums will have its private and its identity, it's a scenario to present and to exhibit the collection. NEMEC, National Museum of Egyptian Civilization, talk about the Egyptian civilization through the ages as topics: the Nile, the astronomy, the writing, the medicine and mummification, and the real mummy will be the focal point and the masterpiece of the NEMEC. And the second grand project and the most important project, the Grand Egyptian Museum, which will include about 100,000 pieces, 50,000 of them in the display and the other in the magazine for restoration and research. The scenario of this museum talk about the kingship and the eternity, the belief of eternal life. The main 2 columns of the Egyptian civilization. And through the collection the museum will give this scenario, this idea. And the main collection of this museum will be the collection of King Tutankhamun, which will be exhibited for the first time at the whole collection. 4,500 pieces will be exhibited in this museum. But the original museum in Tahrir Place will include the masterpieces of ancient Egyptian sculpture. It will be the Museum of Ancient Egyptian Sculpture. The original scenario of this museum will bring this museum back to its original scenario to win more place in the museum to exhibit the collection of the Egyptian sculpture. In this way, I think we will win also the friendship and the cooperation with friends and colleagues of Egyptology all over the world, especially the Czech people. The Czech mission, Czech friends will help in the scenario of the Grand Egyptian Museum. I talked today morning with Professor Eldamaty about it. And also some of the most important sculpture collection in the Egyptian Museum in Tahrir came from the excavation of Professor Eldamaty and Professor Pata in Abu Sir. Thank you. I'm very happy and pleased to have this honor from your grand university. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, thank you very much. But With all due respect, I have to add one important point.
Please.
It takes a brave man to serve as a Minister of Antiquities today, and Professor Eldamaty was too humble to admit it. So I'm happy to say that, and we all thank you for it. Dr. Zahi Hawass, I remember my first meeting this excellent representative of Egyptian science back in 1991, still as a student, as a junior student of Professor Werner. I dare to say, despite all what has been said already, that it is not Dr. Hawass' discoveries, it is not Dr. Hawass' promotion of Egypt worldwide that is most important to me. There is one thing that is even more important and that will survive him, without any doubt. Dr. Hawass was the man who was that brave that he started a long-term campaign back in 1990s that led to a complete redesign of the Egyptian Antiquities Organization. He created a new system that is still efficient, that will be not forgotten, and that is serving all of us working in Egypt, be it Egyptians, be it foreigners, be it laymen interested in ancient Egyptian heritage. At least this is my personal view of Dr. Zahi's contribution to Egyptology that will be never forgotten. Dr. Hawass, you have the word, please.
Thank you very much. I think I have to thank the Minister of Culture for coming to honor Dr. Eldamaty and myself, and of course to see the director. We met in Cairo, and I was very honored to see you in Cairo. And I have to say that my relation with the University of Prague began because of my friendship to Ursula Werner. We became two close friends, and I will never forget that we used to go every Friday to the Hilton Hotel. I smoke shisha, but Werner never drink or smoke anything. And therefore, he used to have his tea, I think, and we used to talk for 2 or 3 hours about his theories and about our work. And I really value his friendship, and I always talk about this all my life, that he's one of the few Egyptologists that he entered my heart. When I came to be the head of Antiquities in 2002, I did announce a vision that I would like to do. And I have to say, and I say this all the time, I did not do this by myself. I did it because of the good people who were surrounding me. And I will come back to this point, that you never succeed without good people around you. You cannot be a maestro without a team. You can be a good maestro because of your team. And therefore, I began this vision by saying that we would like to do site management for antiquity sites. And I think if you go to Egypt now, from Abu Simbel to the unfinished obelisk, to Edfu, to Komombo, many sites, we began to change and have a visitor center and protect the sites. And we began to restore not only the pharaonic monuments, but also Coptic, Greek-Roman, and Jewish temples. And that was really a very important point, is to restore 6 Jewish temples. And I think some people in Egypt even attacked me, how can we restore the temples and we need to build mosques and things like this. And I used to say, and people are convinced in Egypt now, that the Jewish temples are a part of our history. If you really don't care about it, you damage an important part of our history. And the second thing, that we began to be working in 22 museums. We opened 10 of them to the public. And for the first time, we began to show our museum in a beautiful, important, educational way. And as Dr. Eldamaty was saying, when we began to build the Grand Museum, we used the $140 million that came from King Tut exhibit to build this museum. plus the loan from Japan, and the Civilization Museum, which we actually were planning to open the Grand Museum in 2015 and the Civilization Museum, but the revolution happened and everything was stopped. And I would like to add, we had this vision of the scenario. And the only thing that I need to add of what Dr. Eldamaty said, with the masterpieces of Egyptian art in the Cairo Museum, we planned to make every statue within the archaeological context to explain to the public how it was found and who found it. And in this way, Cairo Museum will be a unique museum because the museum is so large and the art statues will not be enough for this huge building. And therefore, we could add this to the scenario, plus the collection, the Grand Museum, and the history of Egypt in the Civilization Museum. And the third point was really to protect the antiquities by building 60 storage magazines. And I want to say that many people do not really know this point. It is because the 60 storage magazine that our monuments were saved during the revolution. And we began to educate the guards, and we began to change the law. I really wanted to change the law by making anyone who steals antiquities should take 25 years. And I could not do this in the parliament, and, but we succeeded at least to change part of this. And the other important thing was really educating the Egyptian about their monuments. And we really, I think we really succeeded in making many people in Egypt to love their monuments because of the Cairo Museum school that we did for the children in the time of Dr. Eldamaty, and a school for the adults. I don't know if it's still working until now or not. And that was really important to bring people from their homes to study hieroglyphic and to study Egyptian archaeology. And I will never forget in my life, when we made this robot inside the Great Pyramid, I met the Minister of Information. I told him, I need this to be live. I want all the Egyptians to see that. And this lady, the daughter of a famous writer, Mohsen Mohammed, before the program, she began to exaggerate what we'll discover. She made every Egyptian to stay in front of the TV from 3 to 5. And this is really how they began to love antiquities. And after that, the program of returning stolen artifacts, that was very important, is returning over 5,000 artifacts. This is the 5 points. But number 6 is the most important one. I thought I will never do anything without the good people. And this is where I met Merslav. I said, Merslav, I need you to help me. Not by taking young people to go to Prague and take a doctorate degree and come back. No, I need good scholars. I need you to take some students, because maybe sometimes in the future, maybe I will be the head of antiquities, and I want these people to help me. And the first student was Tariq Al-Awadi, who's really an excellent student. And the second one is Muhammad Ismail, that we saw today, how he gave an excellent talk. And you can see the personality on them, of the people. How they are not young. No, they can fight. They can say, because they have a good personality, and this is really what I liked. And we have the other guy, Muhammad Mujahid. I hope that he will come back. It seems to me that he loves Prague very much and he doesn't want to come back. And you have Ramadan. Actually, Ramadan, I planned for Ramadan to come to Prague. And I thought that Tariq should go to America. But, you know, it happened that the opposite. That I want Tariq first to go before Ramadan. And this is why I thought that Werner will do that. And after that, Ramadan took the golden opportunity, and he took a fellowship in Brown University. And actually, and this is when I began to teach people, open a school with foreign colleagues on excavation techniques. And I do say, we have 1,000 young Egyptians who are the best. And this is really what I want from Dr. Eldamaty, to search for them. And I can give you names of people who really can do excellent work. Because the most important thing is how can you cooperate with foreign colleagues if you know? If you don't know, you'll destroy everything. And therefore, the education of the young people who really came, when I began to be the head of antiquities, 84 people around me did the whole work, did very impressive symphony of great work that I'm very proud of it. Finally, I will say one great story for fun. Miroslav Werner found an intact tomb. It was the director of the palace, Yufa. And, you know, Miroslav is very careful, and I'm sure that Merrick suffered a lot working with Miroslav. And then the tomb was completely intact, 26th dynasty, 500 BC. I don't know who told the Minister of Culture. Someone, one of the assistants of the minister, told him. And the minister called me. He said, I would like to bring the press and open this. The sarcophagus, like 60 tons weight. And inside was sealed sarcophagus. And the minister, I would like to bring the press and let us open this sarcophagus live. And I told the president about it. And I said, God, I remember what happened to a great man. His name is Zakaria Ghunaim. Zakaria Ghunaim was an excellent scholar, and he discovered the unfinished pyramid in Saqqara of Sekhemkhet. And inside the burial chamber was a sealed granite sarcophagus, never opened since 5,000 years ago. Then they thought, since Kamal Mallah discovered the solar boat and the President Nasser went, then President Nasser said, I will go. Then I can see a Coptic scholar who found the boat and a Muslim scholar who found the Sekhemkhet. And they actually went to the opening of the sarcophagus. And Zakaria Ghunaim opened the sarcophagus, and it was empty. Nothing in it. And this was a very interesting story. And of course, Zakaria Ghunaim suffered a lot, because in Egypt, if you become successful, you can find people attack you badly. And they accused him next week, the week after, that he did steal an object of a museum. And the man was so poor, and he stayed beside the Nile very upset, and he threw himself in the Nile, and he died. 1 week later, they found the statue. And this to show in antiquities we have a curse among some people who are devils, like the god Thys, the god of the devil god. We have many of them in the Egyptian antiquities. Then I told Miroslav, what's happening? I told him, but let me tell the minister that there is some work, and we will do and prepare everything. And I and Miroslav, with Rais Talal and Rais Ahmed, stayed more than 2 weeks preparing this tomb, and we opened everything, and we know what's happening. And I never told the minister that we opened it. And the press came, and the minister came, and they did at the press conference, and next day I told the minister the real story. Then I have to thank Miroslav by doing all this great work, and also to choose and to have Merrick to follow him. And Merrick is really a wonderful man, and he took me last night to a shisha place, and we smoked shisha. And I found out that he goes every night to this shisha place. I hope that the Minister of Culture will visit Egypt and to visit us, and I hope that I can meet you when you come to our country. And from my heart, I have to tell all of you, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hawass, for your kind words. There are several lessons to be derived from this speech. I just wish to emphasize one of them, being a member of the Charles University in Prague. Make sure you know that if you want to become a prominent scholar in Egyptology, you don't go to Ivy League, you don't go to Oxford, with all due respect, or Cambridge. You go to Prague. And that is the obvious.
Then we have some students. Can we send you some?
But we have a scholar who is.
Since the president of the university is here and the Minister of Culture, And we have some young people that they need to be like Tariq and Muhammad Ismail and Muhammad Miguel.
We will do our best, sir.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, let me conclude this official part of the ceremony. Thank you very much.